Welcome to the channel, Witness for Jesus. This is Dawn. If you've been following along, I uploaded 2 recordings of Judicial Committee and Appeal Committee, and then I also uploaded information about a legal letter which was received in regard to the announcement. The lady concerned had disputed that the announcement should be made because she's not guilty of gross sin and she sees it as defamation of character. She sent that letter to them, and that was in the last video. I'll link all the videos relating to this below. And we've received another legal letter from the congregation, but it's clearly from Watchtower Legal Department. So it says, re-proposed announcement of disfellowshipping. We write in response to your letter to the Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, the congregation, dated April 30, 2019, the contents of which are noted. Having taken legal advice, we do not consider that there is any legal reason why the neutral announcement is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. The proposed announcement should not be made. The purpose of the proposed announcement is to inform members of the congregation that you are no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. As previously mentioned, the proposed announcement is necessary to adhere to a fundamental tenet of our beliefs, as found at 1 Corinthians 5, verses 11 to 13, as well as other scriptural texts. The proposed announcement is in neutral form and will convey minimal personal information about you. Strict confidentiality is maintained regarding the matters discussed in confidence between you and the Judicial and Appeal Committees. The proposed announcement is accordingly limited to what is strictly necessary for the purpose of informing the congregation about the termination of your membership status as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. We note your intention to raise your complaints with the Information Commissioner's Office in accordance with your legal rights. However, we do not consider that your intention to make a complaint to the ICO justifies a delay in making the proposed announcement. Accordingly, the proposed announcement will be made at a congregation meeting this evening. Yours sincerely, Congregation Secretary on behalf of Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, so the announcement was made, and basically, rather than allowing the lady time to contact the ICO to in fact find out or lodge a complaint regarding their use of her name and their public announcement about her, they've not given her time to do that and have basically made the announcement anyway. This is purely because she openly disagrees with Jehovah's Witness teachings, but she stated that she was not communicating that to members of the congregation. She was only communicating that to the public. In particular, she raised issues of child abuse, and in the first video I uploaded, I showed you a copy of the leaflet that she'd been distributing to the public to warn the public and to raise awareness. She's not guilty of any of the sins that are outlined in 1 Corinthians 5, 11 to 13. They have no scriptural basis for this behaviour. The disfellowshipping practice in general is unscriptural, and they've proceeded. Now, in terms of them saying in the letter that it will convey minimal personal information and that the particulars of the case are kept confidential, well, in this case, that goes in their favour, because the congregation in general are going to think that the lady is guilty of gross, unrepentant wrongdoing. They're not going to think that she simply disagrees with Watchtower teaching. So it goes in their favour not to tell the congregation about it, and it goes against what Matthew 18 says about bringing something before the congregation. Now they can't speak to her, they're not allowed to speak to her, so they're never going to find out that she was not, in fact, guilty of gross sin. This lady is a very strong, incredible person who, clearly stood up for herself in the judicial committees and stood up for herself after receiving the other letter. But, that person, clearly, the charge against her of publicly stating her views about Watchtower is something that they are just not going to wait about. Apparently, she's so dangerous to the congregation that they had to make the announcement straight away. and even just a few weeks of waiting to give her time to get other advice was ignored, and it's just unbelievable. But what's even more unbelievable, really, in a way, is that when I saw the very, very brief footage of the announcement being made, I mean, it was so quick, it was literally a name is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. The Kingdom Hall was completely empty. I mean, well, when I say completely empty, there was probably 20 people there maximum. So it was so very, very important, was it, that those 20 people are warned about this lady, who in fact is not guilty of gross unrepentant wrongdoing. It's just a crazy situation. So yeah, thank you for the comments. The lady concerned is extremely grateful and feels really supported by reading all of the comments that you've made as well underneath the videos. She has commented a couple of times herself, and when she has, I've pinned that comment to the top so that people can see it.
Is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses.